YouTube, welcome back. My name is EmiMatcha. 3.0 is right around the corner, so I thought I'd come here and share my thoughts and my suggestions on what new or newer players can do to help future-proof their accounts. If you do want to see more content like this, be sure to follow me here at twitch.tv/EmiMatcha. Also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do want to see more content like this or discussions like this. And with further ado, let's have a friendly, emphasis on friendly, okay? Emphasis on friendly, neutral, no fighting, okay? No fighting in the comment section. But this is a, again, open discussion. So be nice, be kind. For those who don't know me, my name is Emi, okay? I am a content creator who focuses on playing gacha games free to play. The reason why I do so is because I do enjoy these games, and realistically, I cannot spend on every single gacha game. I play 6.
Go outside. You need to take your outside with that.
Okay, this is turning into like a gacha addicts anonymous. Okay, this is not what it's about. Okay, but I do play actively 6 gacha games right now. I know, disgusting. Even though I do play all these gacha games and I cannot realistically spend, my problem is that I also like to challenge the endgame content made to basically make you fail. These game modes are designed to make you fail because what they're trying to do is sell their new shiny unit. We all know this, right? If you play gacha games, even at least one, you will notice that they do try to sell the new shiny unit. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not calling the devs evil or anything. This is just how gacha games are, okay? Realistically, it's predatory. You should know this. I'm not trying to say it's not, okay? I'm just trying to let you know the reality that my problem is I like to challenge the endgame content. I'm gonna show you and reassure you that you're still able to clear their endgame content without spending or spending very little. That is my goal here as a content creator. And for future sponsor purposes, do what you want with your money. I don't care what you do. If you want to pull for new shiny units, if you want to pull for everything, you want to max out your characters, you want to pull 100 Akron light cones, I don't care. I support you so long as you're happy. Spend within your means. Just spend within your means. And thank you to these whales for keeping the lights on. I appreciate you. I love you. So here's some information on my account first. I've been playing this game free to play, which means no money spent, no battle passes, no gem gods, none of that. I've been playing this game free to play for 580 days. This is my stats here. Currently have 38 characters unlocked. Here's proof that I've cleared current up to all the content right now before 3.0. I've cleared all the content here with max rewards. This is, in my opinion, this is the end game content because these game modes here will always rotate their enemies, their buffs, and they're designed to, again, introduce new metas to us. And that's their way of the devs trying to power creep. Okay, I don't want to say that word, but that's the devs' way of trying to introduce new metas into the game. Okay, so this is what I classify as endgame content. You might feel differently, but this is the only thing that I'm going to be talking about here. I've also, for the past, I have cleared content, all the endgame content as of 1.2, ever since I started playing at 1.0. So what I did back then was I decided to clear the content with standard 5-star characters or whatever I was given at the time before I pulled for a limited banner DPS. So I'll get into why I chose to do that first in this video, but that's what happened at 1.2. And ever since 1.2, I have been consistently clearing. Is it comfortable every time? I'm gonna say like not every single patch and rotation of these endgame modes has been comfortable for me. For the most part, it has been. I would say like 90% of the time, I'm pretty much coasting through it and I've been fine. But like, there's like the little, like sometimes I am so tempted to build like a new roster that I've never gotten into, which is for my account, for my roster, I don't have like dot units here. If you look at this, I don't have dot units. Okay, a review of my account will come later. If you're interested in that, I'll do a video on it. But basically, I don't have dot characters built, right? You can see how it's very limited, and I didn't build dots, but I was tempted to sometimes, but I didn't do that, okay? Because I was still able to clear the content with just whatever I had. On top of that too, my account is known to be on the unluckier side. I'm gonna pull up old footage. This is like a video I did 11 months ago. If you can kind of just look at it, it's basically this, but it's always been, aside from the Imbibed Lune and Himiko being early, those are the only earlies I've ever gotten. But overall, I've always either won my 50-50 afterwards, but I would have to go into like 81 polls. So that is my account, and I'm gonna say like it's the same for the light cones as well. It's always almost max pity, like all the way to the top. If I lose 75-25, it's always going to be max polls. Standard banner, limited character banner, limited light cone banners. I've just been on the unluckier side of, I would say, the majority of player base. So that is my account. I'm not sharing that so you'd be like, when streamers wanting. No, I'm not. I don't care, right? That's not the point of me sharing this. The point of that is just to let you know the state of my account and what I had to do to work towards clearing everything. All the units that I own are E0, with a few exceptions of them having their S1s. Depression. Other things that I did early on too, I hustled a lot in the first couple months of this game releasing. So in 1.0 all the way to like 1.3, this is disgusting, but like I did used to run through Simulated Universe. Back then, you can still do it now, but back then I used to do up to, I didn't do all 20 runs every time, but I used to do up to 20 runs of Simulated Universe farming. And I also, on top of that, overworld farmed. I would clean up the entire maps through and through, because these mobs do respawn in this game, and in so doing I would gain character levels and indirectly save credits that way. So I did that for a good chunk of the time in the beginning. I'm not going to recommend that for people, but that is something I did do, so keep that in mind as well. I would say now I'm like lazy, and I even recently took like a 1 month break where I didn't even log in once. And like, you want proof of that too? Okay, here, this Starlit Homecoming. If you weren't like gone from the game, I had this homecoming, all right, when I came back. It was nice and cozy. It's like coming back home. So all of this information I'm just sharing to you now to just kind of help you understand that despite being unlucky and more casual now, I'm still able to work with the cards that were given to me and still clear the end game content. All right, that's just so you know. Additionally too, there's another side note. Sorry, there's a lot of side notes, but additionally, one more thing. I used to do account reviews live here at twitch.tv/EmiMatcha. But like, I used to do account reviews, and I would say I have touched over like 300, 400. I would say, okay, it's just hundreds. I'm just gonna say hundreds. I've seen a lot of accounts. I've analyzed a lot of them. I've seen how people were focusing their resources, and but in so doing, I was able to clear content on some of those accounts, not all of them, but some of those accounts. I was able to clear their endgame content when they claimed they were not able to clear, and I was working with units that I don't even have on my current roster. So just so you know, all of this information I'm gonna be giving you now is basically based on what I've seen in other people's accounts along with mine. How am I keeping my account relevant in 3.0? I'm just gonna share a few tips here, the ones that I think are most important. Tip number 1, I looked for units that gave an action advance forward. So these units, such as Bronya, Robin, anything that can give you an advance forward. It can be in light cones as well, because the more turns you get in a turn-based game means more damage, because you can go more times and you can clear faster. Very simple thing to understand. So look for those lines. Very simple, right? Very, very easy.
Very demure.
Tip number 2, look for buffs that can't be easily offered by your existing units, light cones, or your relics. Let that sink in. I know you know it, but let's explain this, okay? What does that mean? We only have so many ways to increase our damage output. So you're gonna see that in like, we're limited, right? We're limited with either a light cone, your traces, your relics, right? There's only so many places where you'll find ways to increase your damage. You need to be very mindful with something called diminishing returns. For those who don't know what that means and what that is, put it as simply as possible. If you have 100% crit damage on your character and you want to add somebody into her team that can give her 20% crit damage, she will gain 20% crit damage. Now, if you had Acheron and she had 200% crit damage already, and you added that team member that gave her the same 20% crit damage, you're only going to be getting a 10% increase in your stat there. So this is why you look for other relevant stats in order for you to increase your overall damage. I'll pull out the damage formula. This is not hidden. This is not a secret formula. Enter your own numbers to test it out, but basically this is a damage formula. I know you know this, just don't maximize too much on one stat because other things matter in this game as well. The ones that I've noticed that aren't commonly seen right now is defense shred or something that ignores defense. So lines like that and all type res pen. Those ones right now, we don't see much of. So those are just examples, but like keep in mind that like, again, if you're going too much into one stat, you're going to get diminishing returns. Okay, very simple map stuff. Next, tip number 3, look for units that can ignore weakness types. You can literally brute force it with those units that can ignore the weakness type or ones that can implant that weakness on the enemies. Okay, so Boot Hill would be one. I don't have Boot Hill. He can implant his physical weakness when he ults. Another one would be Queen Fei Xiao here, right? She can also, in her ultimate, during this time, she can ignore weakness type. These things here, as cheese as it is, and as like, you know, people are gonna be like, oh my god, like that's, you just ignore everything, the mechs, okay, who cares, all right? If you're going to be like, if you're trying to be conscious with your resources and you have really low jades, sometimes pulling for things units that can ignore weakness types, not a bad idea, okay? Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, okay? Tip number 4. This is something that I saw an issue with when I was reading accounts, but when you farm for relics, please try to farm in domains that can benefit more than one unit. I cannot stress that out more. Basically, when you farm for those domains that can benefit more than one unit, you're benefiting your overall account rather than you hyper fixating on one unit. Okay, if you see the meta shifting and you're still farming for like Blade, not calling anyone out, you know who you are though. But like if you're still farming for Blade, for example, and the meta is changing to something else, that is your own fault. I'll be so honest, right? But like some people need to really farm for more than just one unit. Tip number 5, I hate saying this. I don't want to say pull smarter, but that's just the simplest way for me to say this. Pull smarter. And what I mean by that is prioritize limited supports and possibly a sustain if you do not have any other options and you are dying before you consider a limited DPS. This is because supports and your sustains aren't reliant on your DPS to perform well on your teams. You can use them in multiple team compositions, not just strictly one. For the most part, the longevity of supports, if you look in the history of most gacha games, I would say most, they are still being used to this day. Remember when I talked about me pulling for supports? Himeko in the beginning was known to not be great. People made memes that if you did ended up losing 50-50 to Himeko. People laughed about it. They, you know, did the haha, like it's just like Ice Boy, okay? They just made it so that she was known to not be useful. I actually pulled for supports first and a sustain. I pulled for Silverwolf first when she came out because Silverwolf at the time, she was able to, she was valuable for my free-to-play ass because she's able to implant a weakness, and that would help me because my roster was so limited that I had to guarantee fire weakness on the enemies somehow. And the only way I was able to do that early on was Silverwolf. So I did pull for her. I also pulled for Luocha. I didn't have Bailu. Natasha was just the only other sustain that I had, and I didn't have Depart. So the only way that I was able to survive long enough in Mario Chaos without having another sustain, like it was just impossible for me to do that. So I need to pull for Luocha, okay? So my priorities back then, when I first started off, was supports and then a sustain if was necessary. Now that the game has been out a lot longer, there are obviously more options. You may have more options now, like you might have Link's Gallagher. Like Gallagher is a really great option right now, right? There's a lot more sustains available to you, but be mindful because not everybody will have those available to them. So again, prioritize supports and maybe a sustain. Tip number 6, limit test. Be comfortable limit testing on your own account. Don't always think that just because the meta is this way or someone says a certain unit is best, you must pull. You know your account. Try using relics from different sets if you need to in order to meet certain breakpoints and try to clear that way. You don't have to be strict with your builds. Just for example, if you're looking for 4-piece, but like you can't get good subbies for your 4-piece, right? Don't be, I don't want to say stupid. Don't be too rigid with your builds. You can actually get away with mix and matching your set here so long as you meet those breakpoints, right? Like if I had a better piece in the guard set and it rolled like amazingly well, I'm not going to discard it. I will actually throw it on people back then to try and clear content. So don't be too strict with yourself. Don't be like throwing away, you know, if your guard set had double crit on it, like don't be throwing that away because potentially you can use that and just have like a Frankenstein looking at build there, but it still works, okay? It still works so long as you meet certain breakpoints. So this matters, and I'm saying this right now, it matters in this game. Your stats, these breakpoints, numbers do matter in this game because Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based game. You can't rely on just playing better. You can't iframe, you can't cheese, you can't always, you know, rely on playing better in order for you to get a better outcome in clearing. These are all the things that I did consider though since 1.0, and this is what I felt was most important in sharing for like new players or newer players that are getting into HSR. Last thing I did want to talk about too, if you're just starting or you are newer, 3.0 is kind of rough. There's like 4 banners, right, to choose from. Phase 1 and phase 2. If I'm gonna tell you like in 3.0 which one has the most value, I'm going to say Robin. Robin's banner. In my opinion, Robin is the most valuable banner here out of the entire 3.0. Reason being is Robin, as you know, she gives you damage buffs, crit damage buffs to follow-up attacks. Her ult lets her teammates take an immediate action, and I think she also gives an attack buff. And then when she's in her ultimate state too, she can't even be CC'd, right? So just even having her at like an E0 is still good enough for an upgrade. Because there's other Lycones you can put on her, but basically just even having one copy of her already helps your account. If you're really lucky and you can get her at E1, try to get her at E1 as well. If you're feeling lucky, Mr. Krabs, okay? I don't know if you're feeling it, but like if you feel lucky, you can dabble and get her E1. Her E1's also amazing. You see that little hook picture? Okay, that little hook picture, disgusting hook, but that little hook picture, if you don't know what Lycone that Lycone is called Dance Dance Dance. That Lycone, in my opinion, for a 4-star Lycone is one of the best Lycones that you can have. Even if you pull for her light cone and you lose on her banner, you don't get it. So if you lost to 75 25, you still have potentials to gain multiple copies of this 4-star light cone called Dance Dance Dance. This light cone hasn't been, I kid you not, it has not been on a banner for 1 entire year. Like that's, I swear, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. I swear they know how OP this light cone is. That's why they haven't brought it back. But anyways, they brought it back here. This is all phase 2, okay? So any light cone you try to pull for, you're gonna have Dance Dance Dance, okay? But Robin's does has the most value. So that being said, if you do pull for this light cone, I pray that you can S5 it, because this light cone, you put it on not just one Harmony character, but if you have it on another Harmony character, it stacks. The effect stacks. And if I did not have this light cone, luckily, like I have S5s of this light cone, okay? I have 2 S5s. I'm gifted, I'm not relatable, but anyways, just pull better. But if I did not have this light cone, I would not be able to clear with my off-meta comps back then. I still don't have Bronya. That's a fact. I still don't have Bronya. I'll talk about that more later because I'm out here. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm out here trying to E6 Himiko. Okay? Judge me all you want. But anyways, I do not have Bronya. And the only way I was able to advance forward my units back then was this light cone. So if you can, right? If you can, consider this light cone banner as well. I forgot about Tingyun here. This queen, there's a reason why she's known as one of the better 4-star units out there. I think we can write like a whole like essay on Tingyun. If you are going for units, or you want to go for units in the future that use energy and are ultimate reliant, Tingyun, probably one of the better 4-star supports that you can pick up here. So with her, in addition to the light cone banner with Dance Dance Dance, you know, that with her, insane combo, diabolical combo. I'm not even putting this lightly, okay? But she is probably, okay, one of the best 4-stars. It is widely known, and her value, god damn, this value of this banner, I'm sorry, okay, even Hanya being on there, I'm gonna argue with Hanya too, even Hanya being on there, I think Hanya is great. She's a budget sparkle, but even her being on there, right? Also not a horrible character to have. Sushang too, there's a place and time for her, but mostly, mainly Tingyun, okay? Just Tingyun being on here, again, worth consideration for people that are newer or have newer accounts. All I'm gonna say is these are the tips that I recommend and what I followed for myself to keep my account relevant for 3.0. If you have more comments that you want to share, be sure to leave that comment down below. Let me know what's most important for newer players, what you want them to hear. Join us live next time here at twitch.tv/EmiMatcha. If you do like content like this, be sure to leave a like as well and sub. But just don't be stupid and greedy. Oh my god, TL, just don't be stupid and greedy. I'm joking. Don't cancel me. Love you, YouTube. Take care. And welcome to Honkai Star Rail new players. It sucks over here. I'm just kidding. Powercreep's an issue. Bye, YouTube. Bye.